What is up, everybody? Happy Thursday, happy April, and welcome to this month's Creative Challenge webinar from desktop to mobile. I am excited that you're here, and I am excited for everything that we are going to cover today. As a quick agenda, we're going to talk about just a quick survey that we could use your help with. Then we're going to go over our March Creative Challenge submissions. If you're new to those, I'll give you the rundown. Don't worry. And then we'll get into what you're here for, which is creating mobile variants from your desktop experiences in Ceros. And then we'll round things off by kicking off our April Creative Challenge. Okay, so first thing is first. We are always trying to improve the learning experience and the user experience of the Ceros Educate platform. So if you could do us all the biggest favor in the entire world, I'm going to send a 3-question survey in the chat right now. If you could just quickly fill out that survey, it's literally 3 questions. It's like a scale of 1 to 10 on a few things that we're focusing on in improving the Educate site. That would be extremely helpful. The survey is in the chat. If you wouldn't mind just doing us that favor, that would be very, very big. Would love to appreciate it. Pauline, okay, you can see Pauline, you're good. Elise, it's cut off. I don't know what's cut off. Can you see all of this? Can you see where my cursor is now? Okay. All right. So let's get into today. If you are new to our Creative Challenge webinars, which it seems like many of you are, I'll give you a quick overview of what they are. On the Ceros Educate platform, you'll see this tab here called Creative Challenges. Each month, we present a new Creative Challenge prompt, something completely creative and something completely separate from the day-to-day work that you do within Ceros. They're always just fun little prompts to get the creative juices flowing and give you a little bit of a break from your day-to-day work and try out new things in studio in a very low-stakes, safe setting. The March Creative Challenge was to recreate my very first visual design project ever when I was like 18. Let's see if this puppy loads. Yeah, it was this awful pamphlet. All right, it's not gonna load. It's this awful pamphlet from like 2000, who knows when, many years ago, 2011, I think, is when I made this. So the creative challenge was to recreate this pamphlet as a mobile experience in studio. Upon completing the creative challenge, you would earn the Print is Dead badge on your community profile. Creative challenges are something that we love doing, and we get a lot of really cool and inspirational submissions. So if you're new here, as we go through some of these submissions, check out the cool things that some of these community members have done to give you some inspiration for your future projects. As you can see, we have a lot of creative challenges that you can dig through and look at some really cool inspirational stuff if you're looking to get the creative juices flowing. So, all right, Lise can see the screen. We're ready to go. We're going to go over some of our creative challenge submissions for March. And then, like I said, we'll jump right into creating mobile variants from your desktop experiences. And then we'll kick off our April creative challenge. All right. Sound good to everybody? Let's do it. All right. So first is first. Again, the overview here is I created a pamphlet as my first project back in 2011-ish. Yeah, 11. I worked at a screen printing shop, and it was a terrible pamphlet, but I thought it was really gold. The challenge was recreate the pamphlet in a mobile experience that could be usable in today's like marketing and asset world. The company of the screen printing shop the pamphlet is based around could be completely new. The content all completely new. The idea here was just to take something that was print and create it in a digital space. So with that out of the way, let's look at Kelsey's first. And here, ooh, that's actually really, really cool. The good old fashioned, that's incredible. These like medieval, these are awesome. The brand forge. This is so good. We got any video gamers here? I've been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 like crazy. So this is currently right up my alley. I love this. It's so fun. Tap the card to learn more. Okay, so she's got little pop-ups on these cards that she's created. And bro, this is the best experience. Oh, this is so good. So she's got these like levitating floating cards. Imagine this is all like mobile, right? And they tap on them and it brings up these pop-ups that has more detail for each of these sections covered in these cards. This is so good. I love these assets so much. Look at the squires. Look at the squires team. That's so good. Will says this is awesome. Congrats to the designer. Awesome reveal animations. Couldn't agree more. This is so good. Hear ye, make thy inquiry. This is fantastic. This is my favorite experience I've seen this year. This is cool. But I'll also point out Kelsey's great use of animations here, like a deck of cards shuffling in and out, right? That is so good. Nice, Kelsey. I dig it. That's a 10-star experience right there. All right, let's look at some more of these. Let's look at Meg's. Elevate, branding and apparel. Oh, I like the paint dripping down. We've got screen printing, signs, banners. So we've got different sections here, which I'm assuming if you click on it, it'll probably scroll to position. Yeah, just like that. So that's a scroll to position animation or interaction that Meg has added to hers, so this is really cool. So the paint kind of spilling over, if I click here, the colors will then translate to the next page. So this is really cool. So she's got her screen printing panel here with these really good graphics, kind of show you like behind the scenes of screen printing. You click and then the yellow bleeds in. See this? The yellow bleeds over into the orange. And she has utilized these scroll to position interactions very, very well. And this one, yep, orange. This is a cool color combo here with this like purpley blue with this coral and the orange on top. I dig it. Really good use of colors here. Really good use of interactions. Just taking them through panel by panel. This is sick. And then here we go. From custom t-shirts to banners, hats, and custom branding, we've got what you need. Contact us today for an estimate. You know what this reminds me of? You all know like the paint company Sherwin-Williams. Like Sherwin-Williams is the funniest like company ever because they're just like a good old-fashioned like paint company. But their logo is the most metal logo, like the most brutal logo I've ever seen. How do you spell it? Sherwin-Williams? Yeah. Like this is the most metal. It's just this like bucket. It's like you had to choose red. It looks like a bucket of blood saying cover the earth. Like that's crazy. This is the most metal logo I've ever seen. I love it though. It's so sick. Anyway, Meg, fantastic job. I love this. Good use of scroll to position and or interactions. The colors, it all goes together very, very well. Love it. Beth gave us one of these. So good. Nice job. Marianne's. Oh no, Marianne's, looks like your link might be broken. So if you're here, send me over another link. We'll take a look. All right, now let's look at Travis's. Travis is on the Ceros Educate team, and he is currently on vacation. So now is the time to critique Travis's work. Echo culture. Ooh, that's really cool. So check out this animation he's had here, like this really cool kind of like sound wave, and then this looping animation in the back with the textured background. Really cool. Wear your story, share your signal. That's cool. Signal very well correlates with echo, like the name, right? Big, bold text, easy to read. Tap the tabs below to explore our services. All right, where should we go? Embroidery? Yep. So this looks like it's a multi-page experience. Oh, no. It's similar to Meg's, where it's a scroll to position. Yep, there you go. I really like the color textured backgrounds that he's employed here with this kind of like line coming through, right? Tap here to consult the team, return to the top. So this is a good experience. So if you imagine this in a mobile setting, this would all be on one like fold of screen, and then you would just tab these at the bottom to go where you want to go. So really good use of mobile layout, Travis. Dig it. Really good. All right. Let's look at Sam's. Oh, I have to view it on a mobile screen. How do you do that like mobile thing? You know what I'm talking about? That didn't work. It's in here somewhere. Then refresh. Okay, then refresh, then refresh. Here we go. All right, there we go. Can you see this? Nice. All right. Gonna make this bigger. No, what if I just exit out? There we go. Okay. So then, oh, really good use of animations here, Sam. So similar to Travis, Sam has like the homepage, right? Really cool logo design, really good use of contrasting colors here. Um, and the cool logo, like the very abstract acorn type logo with these like repeating, rotating banners. Not easy to do in Ceros, but really, really cool to have these rotating banners like Sam has done here. Really cool job. And then she's got these icons that take you to these different sections. I broke it. Let me redo it. No, I did it again. All right, refresh, refresh. Sorry, Sam. There we go. So this really cool animation where all of her content transitions upward like it's this layer on top of the home page. This is a really cool like micro app type of experience. Like, look how good that is. And you go down, really good job. Yeah, I love this. Nice job, Sam. That's really cool. All right, Neil, let's look at yours. In the preview window to give us the full effect with the frame. Nice. Welcome to Belfast Print Collective. I really like the dark moodiness with like the minimal design choices, the minimal iconography, very simple fonts, looks really good. Scroll to position. Good bold header here, body text, what we do in a nutshell. We listen, we design, we create, we build. Cool little minimal tabs. This is a very sleek design. Don't let the old school style fool you. Yeah, I mean, that kind of like encapsulates it, right? It's like it's an old school print shop with like the windows and like the lights and all this stuff, but it's very modern at the same time. So very good aesthetic, hotkey, what is the hotkey for the mobile switcher? I just push F12 and then that'll give you the option to go into that. You push F12 and then ta-da, there you go. Really good job though here, Neil. So then he's got the address and the social media icons down here, and then like I want to reach out type of thing. This is really good. I love that this is just like an overview of like the brand and the culture of the print shop. Way better than anything that I designed, I'll tell you that much. I dig it, Neil. Great job. All right. I think we got all of them in record time. Or am I missing any of them? I don't think so. Okay, perfect. Those are amazing. And those have very much everything to do with what we're going to talk about today, which is why you are here in the first place. Creating mobile variants from your desktop design. So if you look at these two webinars, these two Creative Challenge webinars together, we first started by creating mobile designs from scratch, right? You just went to the mobile canvas or you resized your canvas to be mobile. That's like a little like unknown trick. Like if you have an experience that is only ever 100%, and it's got to be 100% going to be viewed on mobile, it's okay to take that desktop version and just shrink the canvas down to the correct size, right? If it's only for mobile viewing, that's totally fine. Similar if you have an experience that's only going to be used at like events. So it's going to be on like an iPad or a large touchscreen. At Ceros, we do that all the time. We go to road shows and events and stuff like that. And our marketing team will take one of those just gigantic touchscreen things that's like 4 feet wide. And people can just like touch it, right, with their finger. Really cool. That experience will only ever be used on those screens. So they didn't need to make a desktop version and a mobile version and a tablet version. They just needed one, right? But if it is going to be an experience that will be used both desktop and mobile, it's very, very crucial to ensure that you have a variant for both. So today we're just going to go full hands-on. does it make sense to put a QR code on the desktop experience for folks to view mobile if they only have a mobile experience? Does it make sense to put a QR code on a desktop experience for folks who view in mobile if it's the same experience? I mean, like if you have it's good to use QR codes similar to this. So like the outline for this whole project was like this branding or this apparel company is going to go to road shows, go to events. It's going to be at the front desk, a QR code that people will scan and then it'll open up on their device, right? I am saying like if you only want to do a mobile only design if it's 100% never going to be on a desktop screen at all. Like if it's a very specific design for that, like if there's even a 98% chance that it's mobile, but there's still 2% chance it's going to be on desktop, I would for sure cover your bases and just create a desktop variant. Because sometimes maybe that design will be used in like an email campaign, right? And so someone's at work, they get an email while they're at work, they open it up on their computer. You want that same experience to then be a desktop version, right? So it's per screen. It's like if they open the experience on mobile and it's the mobile variant, great. If they open it on desktop and it's the mobile variant, it's going to look a little funky and it's not going to look exactly right. It's going to look like huge. So like I would encourage and recommend to always have the two variants unless it's for sure never ever going to be used on mobile or on desktop, and you'll know what those cases are. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to open an experience. And we're just going to make a mobile variant because there's a lot of things that go in. I'm actually going to make my window huge. So if this screws up the screen share, totally, apologies. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over how to get started with creating a mobile variant from your desktop design and some key considerations when doing so that's going to really save you time in the long run, right? So here I have a desktop design that I quickly put together all about the Ceros Educate site. So in this demo use case, we'll just do we'll do a preview here. In this use case, this design is for people who visit Educate, but they're not like community members. And we're trying to invite them to sign up to the Educate community so they can complete courses, so they can participate in discussions and forums, complete creative challenges, that type of thing. It's pretty easy. All you do is you click the sign up button and then you're in. But this is a landing page that describes all of the benefits of signing up for Educate and why they should do it. So if I refresh, I'll just walk you through the page real quick so you kind of get a feel for what we're doing, right? So I've got my big, bold header section, unlock creativity, collaboration, and community. Whether you're mastering the Ceros products, leveling up your design abilities, or taking a creative break from your day-to-day, the Ceros Educate community has room for you. So then they scroll down to the first fold here, and we've got some thumbnails of some events and some content and stuff that they can interact with on Educate. They've got joining Educate is free and simple, and then a quick information block about creating their account. And then this, if I wasn't signed into Educate, would take them to the sign up page, but this will probably just take me to the home page. Yep, ta-da. And so you scroll down here, and then you've got this once you're signed up, jump right in. And so what I did here was create these little tabs or this grid of blocks that highlight some of the cool things that you can do in this community to get people going right away, right? So it's like we've got the creative challenge section here. We've got upcoming live events. They click on any of these and it'll take them to the associated page on the Educate platform, right? This takes you to the creative challenge page. Earn badges and certifications. This takes them to the guided design course page. And then some other things here like introduce yourself takes you to the community comments page where it's just kind of like a place where people can, like Gene talked about a recipe swap. That's really cool. And I'm going to go steal some of those. And then the community spotlight page, right? So just like this section's about getting people in. This section is about what you can do once you're in to get people started. And then we've got this little block about need some help. Here's Help Center, live video library, ask questions, which is the discussions and forums, and then some self-paced courses. And then I've got my CTA repeating at the bottom, join our creative community. So this this is just like an overview of what the design is, just so you kind of have like a lay of the land when creating your mobile variant. All right. So the first thing you do, I'm going to resize my window again. So I just have like crazy amounts of screen real estate. Apologies once again if this looks weird. The first thing you do when creating a mobile variant is come here to the layouts panel, and from the drop-down menu, click the mobile version. And what this will do is create a separate. Now, this is the very important part, and this is, I think, where some people might get a little confused. It creates a separate instance of your design. So I have my desktop version, and I have my mobile version. As you can see, none of my content is resized, and none of my content is adjusted to the new mobile canvas size. It is all exactly the same because I am essentially creating a separate instance of my creation. The benefits of doing that is maybe you want to display different content on your mobile version, or maybe you want to tighten some of the content up or reduce some of the content on your mobile version, or maybe even swap out the content altogether. You can do that because this is a completely separate version. I told myself I wasn't going to use this analogy, but I'm going to. You ever watch Severance? So it's like your desktop version is your Audi and your mobile version is your Indy. Two separate people, right? So what you do then is after you get your layout here established, you then want to adjust and manipulate and recalibrate the content for mobile viewing. Quick word is the standard width for the mobile canvas, once you create it, is 800 pixels wide. I recommend keeping it there and not adjusting that. Obviously, the height is going to change a lot depending on how you lay the content out after you get it in here. But you want to, for sure, keep the width exactly the same. So you can delete objects from the layers panel on the mobile, and yeah, exactly the same. So they are two completely separate instances, right? So if I come here and I decide that I want my mobile canvas to be pink, don't do that. But if I wanted it pink, it magically stays black on desktop. They are two completely separate instances. That's the main thing to consider, right? Let's get this unpink. So if I took this header, right, and let's say I just wanted it to say unlock, which would be kind of dumb. Now it just says unlock on mobile, but on desktop, it's completely separate. They're two completely different instances, right? So if I were to then go to desktop and I take this text box, and in my layers panel, let's see. Yeah. Actually, let's take this text box, right? And if I were to make any changes here, and I made this text like way longer because I have more screen real estate on my desktop version. So I'll just like extend this. And for the sake of the demo, I'll just copy the text, right? Then I come to my mobile version. It's exactly the same. Ta-da, there's nothing hidden under there. That is a huge advantage of having mobile variants, because then you can design according to the screen real estate that you were given. All right, let's see. What about columns, grids? Okay, so here's my rule of thumb that I like to follow when setting up my mobile design, right? Is that'll all be very, like columns and grids, it'll all be per instance. But I like to enable my rulers. Your rulers might not be enabled by default, like yours might look like this. So if I create a mobile layout and then edit the desktop version, do those changes automatically update in the mobile layout? So there are two separate instances unless you use synced objects. So let's say, let me remove this, right? And I come here and I grab, let's say, actually, I'll just add some text here. So this is like, hello. And I've got this text. You'll see this handy dandy little circle thing right here, which is synced objects. If I click on this synced object, my text box is now green rather than purple. All right. And so that means no matter where this is, if I update it on my base design, my desktop version, it will then update on my mobile version. So that is counter to everything I just said. If it is a normal content like this, like my normal blue text box or purple, whatever color this is, two separate instances. But my green synced one, as you can see here, if I go and make a mobile layout now, it is there again, and it is green. And so if I go back to desktop and I select my synced object, you can see here in the layers panel, I've got my little synced icon. You double click on that. I'm in this weird new screen that you might not have ever seen before, where it says editing synced objects. This is how you exit it, but you then click the text box within the synced object, and synced objects can be anything, right? And I say, hello, Sam. Magically, oh, whoops, sorry, zoomed out way too far. Magically, it updated on my mobile too. So that is how, if you want things to stay the same between your two separate instances, you use that synced object button down here. Does that make sense? Otherwise, they're going to be two different parties, and you're invited to both of them. So there's pros and cons to both. Like I said, having them synced means when you update it on one, it's going to update everywhere. That's awesome. However, you may run into those instances where you might not be able to fit all of that text, right? Or you might need to resize it or cut it down or even change it. That's when you'd want to use two separate instances and have your mobile dedicated content and your desktop dedicated content. So that's kind of a rundown of that. Yeah. So here we go. Yeah, so synced objects do have limitations. I thought there was another form that used to link objects, by the way, from the mobile. Okay. Yeah, so we'll get into that stuff. But first, what we're going to do is go over like the basics of getting started with a mobile layout. So you might not have your rulers enabled. What I like to do first is enable my rulers. And then I like to set up my boundaries or my guidelines. So if you come over here in your vertical ruler and you just drag and pull, you can then set a guide. For desktop, or excuse me, for mobile, I like to set these at 60 pixels on both sides. So this allows a lot of padding, a lot of breathing room, and good margins when viewing on mobile. So anything I line left will not exceed past this line. And I'll go add another one on the other side. You have to do it in reverse. So 800 minus 60 is 740. That's how fast I did my math. So these will continue forever, no matter how long my canvas gets. All right. So I will keep all of my content in those barriers. That'll help keep everything nice and tight and allow that breathing room. We've all been on those mobile designs where things are just like full width and it starts to look kind of weird because it's right next to the edge of your phone. This helps avoid that, right? So then there's different ways that people go about setting up their mobile instances. And there's no right or wrong way of doing it. This is just how I like to do it. So I like to start from the top and then go down. Some people like to start at the bottom and then go up, but then I think sometimes you run out of screen real estate as you're resizing and reformatting things. So I like to just actually hide everything for the sake of not being able to see it. And I just like to start here at the top. Let's see, and let me pull something up real quick. Okay, so I like to start here at the top, and then I like to work my way down the screen. And I just take each of my components, and I just resize them. Again, you might do this completely different. This is just how I prefer to do it. So first things first is I take this first block in section 1 folder, right? And I'll just align it right here against my guideline. And nothing will ever go past here unless I want it to. And so then within this header section here, I've got this squiggle, I've got my title, and I've got my body text, right? So I will start with my title, and this is clearly too big. And if I just resize it, it starts to look a little wonky. So I'm going to just resize the text altogether. There are like guidelines and rules of thumb for how big your header should be. But a lot of it also is up to the feel that you're going for with your design. For me, I want this to be big and bold, but to still fit very well within my guidelines. So I'm going to just start with like 98 pixels. That seems pretty good. Oh, whoops. I did the whole group. My bad. So I'm going to kind of pull that in here. All right, I like how this is looking. So my line height, I'm going to adjust to 100, just kind of eyeballing it. But now I have this weird conundrum where it looks fine, but does it look weird having and on a line by itself? I think it might. What do you think? Make the font smaller? All right, it's weird. So there's two things we could do. One is we could just replace this with one of these, and we get to keep the size. Or we can come in here and we can just like resize this until it all fits on one line, which is 93. Which looks better? No widows. Do we like the and sign or the smaller text? We like the and? All right, we'll keep the and. So we'll give it an and sign. Ta-da. So now I'm going to go back to this text box. And this is kind of just like where the designing comes in, right? I'm going to resize it until, because I want it big. I always want it like big and bold. That looks pretty good. And again, if I wanted, since this is a separate instance, I could completely change my header altogether. Like if I wanted it to just be like creativity, collaboration, community. I could do that. What do you think? Do we like this or do we like the longer one? All right. No one likes it. We're going back. So if I wanted, though, I could make this a completely different headline for my mobile viewing. Okay, so then I'm going to take my squiggle and I'm going to replace this here, resize it. I'll zoom in. It's probably tiny on your screen, huh? I'll resize it so it's circling creativity. And like I said, nothing should exceed past my guidelines unless I want to. I'm intentionally breaking it because the squiggle is supposed to look like someone drew over the design, right? And if someone's drawing over the design, it's going to be a little bit sloppy. It's not going to be like perfectly aligned. And so it feels a little more organic with it just slightly bleeding out here. So I'm just going to do that, but that's probably the only time I'll ever do that, right? And so now that I've got that in place, I'll probably bring the size of my logo up a little bit so it looks a little bit better on mobile. It might be tiny if I kept it the same, right? So now I'll go to my body text. And here you can see my size is 20 because that's what I had on the desktop version. But 20 is going to look pretty small on mobile. So our general guideline is to go no smaller than 24 of your font size on mobile. I like a little bit bigger, so I'm actually going to bring this up to 26. And then you can see it's kind of smashed together. So I'm just going to bump this up to like 40. That feels pretty good to me. Yeah, I think that looks good. So again, guideline for mobile body text font, don't go smaller than 24. I would steer away from that. And I probably, again, it depends on your design, but I probably wouldn't go higher than 30 for text font. For me, 24, or excuse me, 26 feels like a perfect middle ground for all of that, right? Boom. Okay. So now, what is my canvas size for mobile? It is 800 pixels wide. And I, again, wouldn't suggest changing the width of your mobile canvas. You obviously will need to change the height. There's no real guideline for what your height should be because that's going to change depending on how you arrange your content. But your width should be 800, and I'll just leave it there. And your guides here, like I've set them at 60, some will do 40, but somewhere around there leaves a good amount of padding and margin here for mobile viewing. All right. So line spacing, again, that will all kind of come down to your brand and the fonts that you're using. But I'm using size 26 for font, and so I just boosted this up to 40, and I felt like that looked very well spaced. There's no hard rule for what your line spacing could be. You could even bump this up to like 45, and that still like looks really, really good. Ta-da, there you go. So now with my header section done, let's give it a little preview. All right, that is looking good, right? So you can see where having my margins here really helps give some breathing room to my design. Perfect. Now it's just a big black scrolling screen. Oh, sir. Can you fix the spelling on creative in the body text? Where? Where's it at? Oh, I see it. Creavite. Okay. And that's calling me out like I made this last night, which I did. There you go. All right, so now let's go to our next section. So I've got my header section done here. And you're kind of starting to get like the general feel for how you'll go about making your mobile variant, right? It's a matter of resizing and reformatting the content you have here. So now we have a decision to make. We have essentially two parts to this next section. We've got the body content here with the CTA and the button, and we've got our images here. Which should go first and which should go last out of the two, right? So if we're going CTA first, Sam says. So let's start there. Let's see how that looks. So I'll add this here. I'm going to just make these about 150 pixels of breathing room here. That feels good as a general rule of thumb. Probably will change. So then I will then go into my intro copy. I'll leave this alone. I think that feels fine. And then I'll go to my header section here. And so for headers, again, a lot of it, your brand guidelines will probably have font sizing for you when creating mobile experiences. If they don't, here's just general guidelines. It's hard to say like, here's exactly what you should use. Again, I used 26 here. That felt like very good and legible. But if you're not using any established brand guidelines for your brand, for my header text, I'm going to just start by making this like 72. That feels pretty good. And I'll bump this up to just like 80 just to see. And I'll space this out about here. Actually, I'll line it up with my text box here. Ta-da. And then I'll take my body text. And since we established my new font size is 26, I will also space this out here and make it a little bigger so it can breathe. And then I will keep it about like that. Okay. And I'll just add my CTA here. All right, so Sam, let's look at if I preview this. Give it a little. All right, so here it is with my header and then my body text. I feel like, to me, since they're styled very similarly, I need a little bit more visual interest here. Can you do something unorthodox and move the CTA next to the studio logo? I could try that. Yeah, I could put it above, huh? You know what I want to try, though? I want to try putting my images first. So I'm going to just move these down. I'm going to move them all the way down. And I'm going to take my images and I'm going to slap them right here. And I'm actually just going to ungroup them for the sake of being able to move them around. So I'm going to start by probably resizing them. I'm going to make them a little bit bigger just so they look like big and bold on, yeah, let's see. Move this up to like about 150 is kind of what I established. I'm obviously eyeballing some stuff, right? This is design after all. And so I want these to look a little more stacked. So I'm actually just going to like move this one here, probably move these ones up about like that. And then I've got this little dangler here who I'm just going to put on another line. So I will zoom in, make sure that they're evenly spaced, bring this up to 19. Also, if you're wondering how I'm pulling up these like sizing guides like this, if you just hold the command, or what is it on PC? Control? I think so. If you have an item selected and you hold the command button on Mac, and then you hover over another item, it will measure the distance in pixels, how far your selected item is to what you have hovered over, right? And if you're hovering over nothing, it will show you how many pixels away it is from the edges or borders of the canvas. So that's how you can kind of just like see how far away it is from some of these things. All right. So I'm actually going to pull this in a little bit more. Again, breaking that alignment intentionally. Let's try to move these that way, just so they feel like they're kind of just stacked on here. And now let's pull this down to like right there. Let's just see. Let's just see how it looks. So my thought here is we'll have a lot of body copy here. My big, bold, visually interesting header. I've got my subtext here, and then we go into some visual graphics to maybe entice them. They scroll through those, and then we get into like the joining is simple and free and stuff like that. So let's see how it looks. They come in. They scroll down. Here's some stuff. Maybe we speed up these animations a little bit, and then they get into the body text. What do you think? All right. I like it. For now. It might change. We'll keep it there for now. Do you have any tips for resizing items that have hidden elements, aside from having to turn all of the hidden elements on the layers panel? Yeah, so Catherine, that's a really good call out. Obviously, my design here doesn't have any hidden elements, but if you do, like if you have pop-ups, I would, when you get to that section, like if you're following how I go about it, like you're just building it section by section down the page. When you get to the section that has the hidden elements, I would just reveal those hidden elements and resize them to fit within the guides that you have established and then go from there. So it's no different than any of this stuff. It's just a matter of revealing the items first. Okay. We got the Ken stamp of approval. So we'll move on. But you can kind of see like the basic flow of how this is going. And this is why I like to build downward rather than upward, because I'm quickly running out of canvas. And if I was building down, I would quickly run out of canvas up here. You can always use the canvas extender tool. If no one's ever seen this before, it's pretty handy. I'll show you how it works. It's right here in the layers panel, canvas adjustment, right? And you see this green line, and all I magically do is I click, and then I decide how much canvas I want to add to my design, like this. Let's say it's a lot. You click again, you'll get this adjust canvas pop-up. So you can either remove the amount that I just highlighted, or you can add that much. So if I want to add it, boom, magically, everything has been moved down according to how much canvas I just added. That is really, really handy when you've got all of your stuff laid out on your page and then you're like, this is too close. Instead of selecting everything below and just moving and then extending the canvas, that is a really easy way to just add sections of white space to your design without having to manually move everything. That kind of gets tedious. All right, so then section 2 is done. Let's go and we'll just start section 3 and then we'll wrap things up. I don't think we need to go through this whole design because I think you get the idea. But here we go. This starts to get a little more complex because I have containers that have hover states. And that is very important because anything that is a hover interaction on your canvas needs to be switched to an on-click interaction. That's because you can't really hover on a smartphone or a touch screen, right? Like you can only hover if you have a cursor. So anything like obviously hover states are like for buttons and stuff like that, that's not quite as crucial. But if you have chunks of content or pop-ups or flip cards that trigger on hover, you'll need to definitely reconsider using those. I think if you have hover interactions, when you create your mobile variant, there will be a pop-up that says, hey, there's hover interactions here, you need to switch those. But also you'll see this red dot next to anything that has a hover interaction, indicating that that isn't going to work as intended on your mobile device. When I add more canvas and everything moves, does it also move hidden elements? I think so, but let's find out. So I'm just going to make a copy of this. and I'm going to hide it. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add some canvas. So I believe everything in that like danger zone gets moved, whether it's hidden or not. But let's find out, Raphael. Moment of truth. Wait, is that where I left it? I don't remember if that's where I had it. Okay, so that is not. So it looks like hidden content does not move. Boom. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like anything that is visible. That is a really good call. Thank you for calling that out. Anything that is visible in that danger zone or below the danger zone, it's not called the danger zone. I just kind of like that. Will get moved. But if it's hidden from the danger zone. All right. All right, Maria, one more time. So you come here to your toolbar. You got this canvas adjustment tool. And then you select where you want to start adding or removing canvas. And then you drag down as much canvas as you want to add or remove. See here, you can see I got 532 pixels. You might not be able to see that because it's tiny on the screen share. I click, I confirm, and then that much canvas was added there. Huge time saver instead of just moving everything down manually. But as pointed out by Raphael, it only moves revealed content. Anything that is hidden is safe for now. And then as soon as you unhide it, it gets moved if you add more canvas. So again, that goes along with what I was saying with replying to Catherine about hidden content. So as you're building these chunks out, it's smart to reveal all of the content. So you're moving everything together, you're resizing everything together. And you can kind of just like save yourself a lot of time doing that stuff. All right. So mobile or hover interactions, right? So if I go back to my desktop version, when I hover over these, the tile changes. And then there's an arrow that shows up right here in the corner, which signifies when you click, it's going to take you somewhere. So none of this is going to be possible on my mobile variant because there are no hover interactions, right? So I need to come in here and we'll start with my header first. So let's get this to be about, oops, let's grab all of it and we'll move it up about right here. And then I'm going to take my header and I'm going to move it over here. Again, that's probably tiny, huh? I'll zoom in for you. And what did we establish? 72 pixels for my header ones with a line height of 80. So 72 and 80. Left align it. Boom. All right. So now I have to resize it, make my canvas or my text box look bigger. There we go. That is done. So I'm going to, sometimes the like zoom in feature gets a little unwieldy. So I'm just going to hide all my hotspots for now. And then I'm going to hide. I just do this for like screen management and my own sake. Like when you have a lot of things on the canvas at once, it gets a little overwhelming. So I like to just kind of hide things and just work bit by bit. So here we go. We've got this whole section here. Within this, we have my arrow, which I don't even need because this is an on hover arrow. So I'm just going to completely hide the arrow. If you wanted, you could delete it. Doesn't make a difference on your mobile variant. And then I'm going to start by taking my container first and deciding how I want to resize my container. And I'm just going to go to my guides like that, right? I'll probably make it a little bit longer to accommodate my image here that I have. And then I'll go up to my header here. And so for my header twos, I'm going to make this slightly bigger to 56. You might see a common theme, and I didn't even do this on purpose, but my line height now becomes my size. And this just gets increased to what I feel like looks good right now. There's no like law to that. So that's just something I just barely noticed. And I'll take my body text here. I'll bump that up to 26, bump that up to 40. Nice and big. And I will then pull it up a little bit closer to my header, about 34. That's what I had established. Okay, so now I've got this graphic. What do we do with the graphic? do I take my square shape? Oops. And I just make it bigger like this. Oops. And then I take my graphic and I pull it down here like that. And then I can double click on my graphic to edit or enter the cropping mode. And then I'll just take my graphic and pull it in here. Nothing really changed. This is just white space because I had it sized to the size of the desktop version of the container. But I'll go there. Voila. What do you think? Does that feel weird? Does this look kind of, let's preview it. Let's see what we think. So we come here, we've got our images. The QR code's just a graphic, Ken. It's not like an actual QR code. I like the switch with the alignment. All right, we'll just keep it for now. Okay. There's a gazillion questions in the chat. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to all of them. I fixed the net spelling of creative, so I think it's mission accomplished today. Sorry, I'm just getting caught up real quick. Is there a way to lock anchors? I sometimes move them on accident. I know this is unrelated to mobile. As far as I know, there is no way to lock anchors, Devin, unfortunately. Also, something to consider, that reminds me, this is also unrelated. Something to consider when you're setting up your guides. Like I said, if you pull from the vertical ruler, you'll pull a vertical guide, right? If you pull from the horizontal ruler, you'll pull a horizontal guide, which is great. A common thing that I see a lot that really screws people up is there's this tiny little corner up here where the two rulers collide. When you pull from that, that will give you this odd thing. And what this does is reset the zeroing of your rulers. So you can see my zeros are lined up to this top left corner. If I move it here, look where my zeros moved, right? And so a lot of times people will accidentally move their zeroing and then they'll line up to it and they're just like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right, you know? So that's just something to really look out for when you're doing those rulers. That's helpful when you're like adjusting certain parts of the canvas and whatnot. But for the most part, you want to keep your zeroing exactly the same. Do you ever do your mobile variants first and then desktop version second? For us in particular, no, because most of our content is viewed, like for the Ceros Educate team, most of the content is viewed on a desktop screen. Like a lot of it is in like the Educate platform. And I think it's probably best to start with the desktop because I don't think you can necessarily go backwards. Like the default will be a desktop version, you create it, and then you can create a mobile variant off of that. But you can't start with a blank mobile canvas and then go backwards. So I would highly recommend just starting desktop. And if you feel like you're going to primarily use it on mobile, maybe get your desktop layout done, right? So then all of your content is moved over to your mobile variant, and then you can focus on the mobile interactions and pop-ups and that kind of stuff, and then work backwards from there, if that makes sense. If you've got a website that has its mobile version already made and published, but someone wants to add a new page to the website, what is the best process to add that to the mobile version? Right now, I have to make a desktop version and precariously copy and paste it into mobile, but nothing stays linked. Stuff sometimes breaks. What is the best way? So let me read through that again. So you have a published version already. You want to add a new page. Okay, so then you want to add a new page for the mobile. And so, okay, yeah. So at this point in time, that's kind of the process you have to go through. which is to add a new page, do the desktop version, and then create that mobile variant. And I would say same tip as we gave to Christina, which is like, if it's going to be primarily used on mobile, get the layout done in desktop, transition, tweak it for mobile, and then add all of your mobile interactions. Then you can work backwards from there. That's a really, really good question, though. Okay, we are running out of time really, really quick. So if you have questions that I did not get to answer, because I see that there's a ton of them in there, please feel free to go to the webinars section under the on-demand section of Educate. You'll see our post for today's webinar. The recording will be uploaded here where you can view it, but also you can ask a question here that I didn't have time to get to. And then I can go back and we can answer those questions and you can have them there. So Liana added a link here. I'll grab one too. There it is. That's the webinar page. One more time, I'd like to plug our feedback survey. Would super appreciate your feedback on the Educate platform. It's 3 questions. It's super quick, but it really help us improve and continue to develop good content for you. All right, so you get the basic understanding of how to create a mobile variant. We really slowed it down and just started with the process step by step, how to go through and create these mobile variants. The main consideration is it is a separate instance of your design. All of these changes that we made did not carry over to my desktop version. The desktop version remains exactly the same. There's great benefits of doing so because you can completely change out the content. Sometimes interactions like tab menus might not translate well to mobile. They could, but they might not. So maybe you want to switch that interaction with a more mobile-friendly interaction type, like maybe a carousel or an accordion menu or something like that. So there's a lot of flexibility in having these separate instances. And so I hope today that we are able to go over the basics of getting started on that and an intro to the flow of adapting your content for mobile experience. Thank you so much. The last thing we're going to do is go over our April Creative Challenge. This is a pretty straightforward one. Your Creative Challenge this month is to pick one of your favorite experiences that doesn't currently have a mobile variant and give it one. So the experience that you choose could be a work project. It could be from a past creative challenge. It could be from one of our guided design courses. Whatever experience you find interesting and that you like to work on, pick it. And all you have to do is give it a mobile variant. Any modifications or additional or different interactions that you give it are entirely up to you and what you think would be best for the target end user of that experience. So pretty straightforward this month. You'll have until May 1st to complete your challenge and then submit its published experience in a comment here and earn the Mobile Magic Badge for your community profile. All right, we had a lot of hands-on work today. Again, feel free to ask any questions on the webinar page in the on-demand section. Please fill out that survey if you get a chance and check out the Mobile Magic Creative Challenge. It's going to be fun, and I'm really, really excited to see all of the submissions that you guys put together. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. See ya.